years ago, in the village of Isialu, there lived a man named Mr. Wamboeze. Mr. Wamboeze had one son, Golibe. Mr. Wamboeze single-handedly took care of Golibe, his son, from when he was just 1 year old. Wamboeze really surprised everyone because, ever since his wife left him for another man, people expected him to at least remarry so that he can have a woman take care of his child. No, Wamboeze was scared of giving Golibe a stepmother who may maltreat him later on. So, Wamboeze devoted his time, energy, money and love in taking care of Golibe. Wamboeze loved Golibe so much, and it was definitely not a secret. When Golibe started school, Mr. Wamboeze would dress Golibe up, prepare his breakfast, lunch, and take him to school before eventually going to his workshop in the village. Though it was stressful for Wamboeze to do it all alone, he was happy doing it because he knew that in no time, Golibe would grow up and become a successful man in life. After Golibe finished high school, his father Wamboeze made sure to send him to the university, even if it means using all that he had to train Golibe. Golibe went to the university where he studied law. He was a very good student of law. He was good at his course, so much so that he graduated being the top of his class. While in the university, Golibe made sure that he did not date any lady because he felt that he was not ready and did not have the financial wherewithal to take care of any lady's demand. So, to avoid any form of heartbreak in school, he avoided women like plague. But it did not stop them from coming because, of course, Golibe was handsome and very intelligent. Some of the ladies tried so hard to become close to him and become his girlfriend, but Golibe was very firm in that area that it was so difficult for any lady to break in. When Golibe graduated from the university, he was happy that, unlike his friends, he did not get to experience any form of heartbreak from any lady. When Golibe returned home from the university, Wamboeze, his father, was very proud of the son he had raised. In no time, Golibe got a well-paying job in the city, which changed their lives. Golibe built a house for his father in the village. He was so good at what he does that soon he established his own company and became the boss of his own. Golibe was barely 25 years old when he started thinking of taking a wife for himself. He knew that he was already ready for marriage. So, Golibe wanted a woman who would be very loyal to him and very submissive. He decided that he was going to get a girl from his village. So, Golibe traveled to the village and got married to Ngozi, a 21-year-old lady who only finished high school and learned tailoring. Ngozi was much excited to be married to Golibe, one of the young, most eligible bachelor in their village who lived in the city. Though Golibe was educated, he only married Ngozi traditionally. Ngozi and Golibe, after their wedding, lived in the city happily. Ngozi was very loyal and submissive. She was also a sucker for house chores, as she would clean the house and everywhere was always sparkling clean, which made Golibe happy to have a very tidy woman as wife at home. Ngozi was a full-time housewife while Golibe would always go to work. After 6 months in the marriage, Golibe started getting tired of Ngozi because, apart from being loyal, tidy and submissive, she could not engage in a proper conversation or hold a conversation. Soon, Golibe started to find Ngozi very boring. Meanwhile, Golibe had an employee in the office who was very outspoken and expressive. Golibe soon started getting attracted to Tiwa. Tiwa, on the other hand, liked Golibe so much, despite being aware that Golibe was already married, because Golibe was smart, established, and rich. Soon, Golibe and Tiwa started having a romantic relationship in the office and then go to hotel to have fun. One day, Tiwa informed Golibe that she wanted to see him and have a word with him urgently. Tiwa, what is the problem that you want to see me urgently for? Golibe asked worriedly. Golibe, I am pregnant, Tiwa said. What? How come? But we just had sex once. Golibe, once is enough to get one pregnant, Tiwa said. What are we going to do? Golibe asked Tiwa worriedly. I don't know. That kind of question that you're asking me. Of course, I am going to keep the baby, Tiwa said. Tiwa, but you know I have a wife, Golibe said worriedly. Oh, it's now you know you have a wife. When you were looking for me up and down, were you not aware you have a wife? Tiwa answered Golibe. That day, Golibe could not sleep as he was not expecting Tiwa to get pregnant. But now that she's already pregnant, he had to profile a solution. He did not want to have any of his child out of wedlock, not especially when his first wife Ngozi was yet to give him a child. So, he secretly went to Tiwa's village and got married to her traditionally. After their traditional wedding, he rented a house for Tiwa to live in. The house was very comfortable and Tiwa was happy to be married to Golibe, who took care of her financial needs. Tiwa was aware of Ngozi, Golibe's first wife, but Golibe's first wife Ngozi was not aware that her husband was married to another woman. But Golibe would shuttle between the two women. Sometimes, whenever Golibe wanted to spend some time with his second wife Tiwa, he would tell Ngozi that he was going on a business trip and would be spending some time away from home. When Tiwa was 6 months pregnant, that is, Golibe's second wife, Ngozi, his first wife, took in and was confirmed pregnant. However, Tiwa put to bed a baby boy, while Ngozi, Golibe's first wife, gave birth to a baby girl. Soon, Golibe was tired of living double life, so he decided to confess to his wife, that is, Ngozi, his first wife, that he had impregnated another woman who gave birth to a child for him and that he had married the woman secretly. Ngozi, Golibe's first wife, was shattered when Golibe told him about Tiwa. She cried for days. But eventually, she knew that there was nothing she could do. So, she had to forgive Golibe. And then, Golibe brought in Tiwa, his second wife, and the child to come stay in their mansion. Ngozi was a very peaceful woman, so she avoided any form of trouble from Tiwa as much as possible. So, the two wives of Golibe were able to live peacefully in the mansion. However, trouble struck when Golibe's father, Nwambueze, who has been sick for a while, finally died. Golibe's father died after the brief illness. Golibe was shattered. The only love he had known from childhood was his father's love. He did not get to feel what having a mother feels like. Golibe spent so much to bury his beloved father. After the funeral of Nwambueze, Golibe's father, Golibe decided to stay back in the village to mourn his dear beloved father. And his two wives, Ngozi and Tiwa, had to go back to the city with their children. That was when Chioma, one of the village girls who was given the job to always come to help clean and sweep the house and make sure everywhere was tidy throughout Golibe's stay in the village while mourning his father. One day, Choma, the village girl who always came to sweep the compound, noticed that it was only Golibe that was inside. She snuck into the house and met Golibe in a very sad state. Golibe had locked himself up, crying without the knowledge of anyone because he was too ashamed to show his pain to people. When Choma opened the door, he saw Golibe crying. "Sir, I am very sorry for your loss," Choma said in a very consoling manner. Choma was the only person who had seen Golibe in his lowest and broken state. Choma make it a point of duty to always check up on Golibe whenever she came to the house to do the regular cleaning at the compound. However, Choma was from a very poor background. Her parents were one of the poorest of the poor in the village. So one day, Choma had returned back from her cleaning when she had imagined what life would be like if she was one of Golibe's wife. Golibe is a very rich man. I wish he would just look at my way. My life would change for good. After all, he has 2 wives already. If I become his 3rd wife, it won't be a bad idea at all, Choma thought to herself. The next day, Choma went to clean the house as usual. When she met Golibe again in a very sad and sober state, she started consoling him and eventually seduced Golibe. Golibe succumbed, and then the rest is history, as Choma soon became one of Golibe's side chick, who later got pregnant for Golibe. Golibe was a man that was well respected in the village, so when Chioma called him to inform him that she was carrying his pregnancy, Golibe had to do the needful. He met with Chioma's parents, who were more pleased to have someone like Golibe as their son-in-law, despite the fact that their daughter Chioma, who was barely 21 years old, was going to be Golibe's 3rd wife. Golibe did not bother to take Chioma to the city, as Chioma lived in the village mansion and took care of the house, while Golibe sent money to her on a regular basis to take care of herself and her unborn baby. Golibe got to see Chioma and her child when she put to bed. That was how Golibe married 3 different women in the space of 3 years. However, Golibe's impact in the village was not left unnoticed, as soon the palace called him to be honored and was given a chieftaincy title. Because of his immense contribution in the village, he had over the past few years shown that he was a true son of the soil. Despite being young, Golibe was one of those supporting the village financially, ensuring there was good schools, pipe-borne water, and that primary health care was being accessed by the poor. So, the palace decided to honor him with a chieftaincy title. After the ceremony in the village one day, Golibe sat outside his village mansion. An elderly man and a woman visited him with a young lady of about 20 years. Golibe wondered what their visit was for, until the man spoke up. Chief, you have proven beyond reasonable doubt that you are a true son of the soil. You have helped our villagers so much that the lives of our people have never remained the same. The honoring of you being a chief is what gladdens our hearts so much, the elderly man said. So, I and my wife here have decided to honor you. The man's wife was about 45 years old. She was busy nodding her head in affirmation to what her husband was saying. They continued, "So, my wife and I have decided that we will gift you our daughter here, UCHE, as a wife for free. Oh, you do not need to pay a dime." Golibe was in shock, as he once had when he was younger that parents sometimes gift their daughters in marriage to a man of great achievement, but he did not believe it was real and it was happening right in front of him like a movie. Golibe was short of words and did not even know what to say. Um, um, Golibe stammered, trying to get his thoughts together. "Do not worry, oh, you are not to pay anything. Just let her stay with you, and she is your wife from henceforth," elderly man assured Golibe. Uchechi never went back to her parents as she became Golibe's fourth wife. At first, Chioma, Golibe's third wife, who was living in the village mansion, was very angry. She tried resisting Golibe from taking Uchechi in as his fourth wife. But the choice was not hers to make, but Golibe's. Uchechi, Golibe's fourth wife, stayed in the village mansion with Chioma, who was very angry and would always make trouble with Uchechi, as she did not expect that another woman was going to join her to share all she had planned to harvest financially. Chioma was always pained. She would shout at Uchechi, the new wife, and make her feel miserable whenever Golibe went back to the city. All her efforts to make Uchechi leave the marriage did not work, as Uchechi soon got pregnant for Golibe. With the way Golibe two wives in the village, Chioma and Uchechi, were living large in the village, other young ladies wished that they were lucky enough for Golibe to notice them in the village and make them one of his wives. After all, it is even better to cry in a mansion than to cry in a hut, the young village ladies would say among themselves. Golibe's two wives in the city, Ngozi and Tiwa, soon started having serious rivalries. It was more like a competition to be Golibe's favorite wife. Golibe did not have a favorite out of all his four wives, as they were all different and unique in various ways to Golibe. However, Golibe had a big contract he needed to handle in the northern parts of the country. So Golibe traveled to Tungamuri to inspect the project that was going on there. That was when Golibe met Amina. Golibe had never seen such a black, beautiful woman. Amina's dark skin was like a glass, shining through the sun. The moment Golibe saw Amina, he was dumbstruck. Amina was truly a beauty to behold. Amina was a well-educated young lady. She was a medical doctor who had just started her residency. Golibe had tried severally to woo Amina. Amina at first was not interested in dating Golibe, but Golibe always had a sense of humor around her, which made Amina have a soft spot for Golibe, as Golibe would make her laugh and she would forget all the stress she had been through working in the hospital. Golibe loved Amina so much. Amina was intelligent, interesting to be with, and she was very modest. If only Amina can agree to be my wife, Golibe thought to himself. Golibe finally proposed to Amina, and surprisingly, Amina accepted his proposal despite the tribal difference. But Amina insisted that they would marry both legally and traditionally. So Amina and Golibe wedded in the registry and traditionally. Amina was aware that Golibe had other wives. Amina got pregnant for Golibe during his long stay in the northern parts of the country, and then Amina gave birth to a male child for Golibe. Amina's son was a replica of Golibe. He looked so much like his father. That was how Golibe ended up marrying 5 different women at age 30. Golibe was happy with himself because he was able to break from his father Nwambueze's pattern. Nwambueze, his father, had died with no companion or wife because ever since his wife, that is, Golibe's mother, left him while Golibe was a year old, he lost interest in women and refused to marry. But for Golibe, it was different for him as he had 5 wives who adored him and respected him. He wasn't sure of why each of the wives that married him, but what he was sure of is that he would be able to eradicate himself from being single and lonely like his father. Unlike his father, Golibe was young and rich, and it was almost difficult for any woman to reject him. Golibe continued to build wealth for himself and his big family. Golibe was very hardworking, but despite all his sacrifices, not all his wives seemed to be pleased with him, especially Tiwa, his second wife, and Chioma, the third wife. No matter the amount Golibe gave to them, they were never satisfied as they always wanted more from him. Golibe was not perturbed as he was rich and could afford to give his family luxury. Golibe was having the best time of his life until one day, all of a sudden, his eyesight started deteriorating, and then gradually Golibe lost his sight. That was when Golibe's world came crashing down right at his face. Golibe could no longer see or oversee some of his businesses because he was one who was always present to oversee things and make sure everything go well. But his absence soon caused a loophole in his businesses. His wives were not really into his businesses, nor knew how it ran, as all Golibe showed them was how to receive and spend. Golibe soon became a shadow of himself. It was Tiwa, his second wife, that first left him because she never envisaged that Golibe will become blind and would always need help around the house. Tiwa was always irritated by the mere sight of Golibe and the way he would always need assistance or want someone to take him around the house. One day, Tiwa left the house without even taking her son along with her. Ngozi, Golibe's first wife, had to take care of the children and also Golibe, her husband. Golibe and his first wife Ngozi had to go back to the village and join Golibe other 2 women in the village, that is Chioma and UCHE. Chioma was shocked at the state of her husband as she could not believe that all her dreams would no longer be fulfilled. So, she gathered some of Golibe's properties that she was aware of and sold it and then ran away without any trace. It was Ngozi and Uchechi that was left to take care of Golibe, but soon Uchechi's parents, that is Golibe's fourth wife, cajoled her to leave the marriage and marry someone else. After all, they wanted Uchechi to marry Golibe because he was rich and a honorable man in the village. But now, game was over for them. Golibe was left with Ngozi, his first wife. Though Amina was still married to him, She was working far away in the north and she did not have the luxury of time to be with Golibe, so she was as good as not being his wife. However, Golibe, after 5 years, started recovering his sight gradually. And when he was fully recovered, he was so ashamed at all that had happened to him in a space of just 5 years. He had lost so much in his business, and his wives were all gone except Ngozi, the very first woman he felt was illiterate and was boring. It was only Ngozi, his first wife, that was left and took care of him in all his trying times. Golibe knelt down, begging Ngozi to forgive him. My wife, I am sorry. I am sorry for all I did to you. I did not consider your emotions and your feelings. I am sorry for marrying other women after you, even without your consent. I am sorry, Ngozi, my wife. Please forgive me. Golibe knelt down, begging Ngozi to forgive him for marrying other women without her consent or even considering how she felt. Golibe, I forgive you. I only stayed with you throughout your trying times because I did not want you to go through that phase of your life without any form of help. I wanted you to be in a better place. Golibe, now that you are fine, I am happy for you. But guess what? I am done with you. Ngozi, Golibe's wife, said firmly. Golibe was shocked. Done? I don't understand. What do you mean by done? I am done with this marriage. I chose this marriage for years. I wanted it to work by all means. But now, Golibe, I choose me. Ngozi said as she left Golibe in disbelief. You do not know what you have until you lose it. Tell me what you've learned from this story in the comment section. And subscribe to this channel if you are not already subscribed to the channel. Like this video, please, and do well to share this video to your loved ones. Until I come your way again with another African story. For now, from me, it is bye.